Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Nasdaq Spotlight. I'm your host, Jack Castle, and joining us today from the Nasdaq Entrepreneurial Center in San Francisco is the founder and CEO of Copy.ai, Paul Yacoubian. Paul, thanks so much for coming on.
Hey, good to be here.
So let's start off for the audience. Tell us a little bit about Copy.ai solutions and the problem you're solving for customers.
Sure, so we got started in 2020. So we were one of the first generative AI application companies that got launched after the release of GPT-3 by the OpenAI company. And what we've done is we built a platform that's purpose-built for generative AI applications and solutions. And most of our use cases around sales and marketing and content production as well. So what we started with was a easy-to-use solution that any user could sign up, use the product for free. We have a freemium product, and we've had over 8 million users use the platform since then. And now we're focused on helping companies scale out those operations and scale their content production to help them drive marketing and sales objectives.
Okay, well said.
Yeah.
Now, AI has been a trend we've been seeing in the headlines a bit this year, not a bit, a lot. I'd love to get your perspective on, if this is hype or real, and what is so important about generative AI?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Generative AI is really low-code artificial intelligence. So that means that you can use it, you can interact with it without knowing how to code at all. So the interface is natural language, which means you can, use your own words, you can use plain English, and you can get it to do really anything that you want. So you can have it produce content, you can have it, make decisions for your business processes. And these are real solutions. This is not just a marketing ploy. It's not just hype. People are really able now to use this product to help drive business value.
Now, since it's becoming a bit more ubiquitous, how is this really affecting or impacting enterprises?
It's a great question. So we're still in the first inning of enterprises adopting and deploying generative AI. What we have is basically a brain that got dropped onto our office desks, right? And it can do all these wonderful things, but it's not connected to any body at all. So you have to rebuild like a nervous system for that brain to make it useful for a business. So today, businesses are set up with old business processes, old systems, old solutions. And what we have is a new opportunity to rewire entire business processes to make them AI native. And that's what we're doing with our platform, is we're able to come in without having companies having to rip and replace their existing systems, is put artificial intelligence and generative AI right on top of those workflows and really help increase the throughput and effectiveness of their sales and marketing efforts. And this has really been transformational, and we're still in the early stages. A lot of companies reach out to us. They say, hey, we know generative AI is here. There's like the CEO, the CIO, the CMO. They're wondering, okay, I've got this. I have a team that I think can see a big productivity boost, but we're not exactly sure what we should be doing. What are our competitors doing? That's what they want to know. So we come in, we're saying, okay, well, these are the best practices. This is the easiest roadmap to adopt generative AI in your company, and you'll see results from day one. And this is a process that will take probably 10 years for this whole transformation to happen. And we're in the early days of that, but we're highly supportive of the companies that we work with, large enterprise, public companies. They're all signing up onto our platform, and we're holding their hands and walking them through this process.
Yeah, very interesting. Now, what are some of the common use cases that you're seeing?
It's a good question. So content production is a very obvious use case. When you have an AI model that can help you write things, that's great. Now, one of the problems that the early generative AI apps have had is you have to manually request the model to produce something for you. So this, by default does not scale across the whole business process. So where we've taken the platform is really more focused on scaled automation and connecting generative AI into your business processes. So using your existing data streams, instead of having those data streams bottlenecked by a manual human in the loop, we're able now to just continue that flow of data straight through the system. And the people that were manually doing a lot of that work and effort to create content or to write, personalized emails or things like that they were really just bottlenecked. They could not do it at the scale and the level of personalization that's now possible. So instead of people doing all that manual work, they're now building these systems that are totally scalable for the company, and they're having a transformational impact on the businesses that they work at.
Yeah, driving those efficiencies.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the 10 years and early innings. I guess maybe I'll cut it in the middle. Like, where do you see this going over the next 5 years? And maybe a follow-up to that, if you wouldn't mind. What are some of the concerns you could see with some of this?
So the initial concerns are around job losses. This is something that is top of mind for everybody. I think we had a major company that had promoted and marketed AI for years that they couldn't deliver on, and they said that it was going to be eating up the jobs that they had at their company. That will cover a small percentage, I think, of the value creation, because you do have costs in place for existing processes, and we will need to reallocate those resources, the human resources, the capital resources, and the systems. So that's not the thing that gets unlocked. That's like a nice to have, might save you a little bit of money, but the real unlock are making things possible that were before never possible. And on the sales and marketing side, sales and marketers have a ton of creative ideas. They have a ton of campaigns that they want to do, but they don't have the time to execute those campaigns.
Right.
And so when you add generative AI and you allow everybody to scale and produce and execute on all these sales and marketing tasks, you can really expand the amount of productivity a single person on your team has, and far more powerful than just using simple kind of chat-based tools. For that, this is a scaled system that you set up once and it works forever for the business. So over the next 5 years, you're going to see the rollout of use cases. So today, we can think about content production maybe, or personalizing emails. But over time, even parts of the business process can get automated. And then as you start to add to that system, it gets way more intelligent. And the end result is that you can now enable one-to-one personalized experiences for your customers. So imagine every message that you get from any company is a value add opportunity. It's totally relevant, and it is a value driver for you as a customer. So that's the end experience that we want to deliver, and we're helping companies work backwards and say, okay, we have the platform technology that you need to enable that kind of customer experience, and it's the things that you've always wanted to do, which is fantastic. So when we come in and we consult with these C-suite leaders, the first thing I ask them is, what are your objectives? And they're like, well, we want to know what you can do. And I'm like, that's not a bottleneck. It is not a constraint at all. What drives your growth flywheel? What drives that growth engine? And they say, okay, well, our sales cycles are too long. It's like, okay, well, why is that? Well, we don't know exactly what use cases our customers need from us. So this is a content problem, because you have, in a lot of companies, a lot of things that your customers can do with your products, but the sales team isn't, they're not well versed in that customer's industry or the tooling and the needs that they have. And we can now predict and generate a lot of that use case content that they need, and allow them to deliver that in and shorten that sales cycle as well. And so your sales reps don't just show up not knowing anything about the customer or the industry. We can figure out not only all the information about the company, but also the individual. And so what we're doing is we're eliminating really the idea of the marketing persona, which is a group, like a collective group of characteristics about similar customers, and we're getting down to the individual, the one-to-one, right? Everyone is unique. They have a unique set of experiences, background, things they care about. You have to really understand the person if you're going to market to them. You cannot bucket people. So we now have the ability with generative AI to personalize all of this content and make it very relevant for that person. So this is a totally new era. There are not tooling doesn't exist. Platforms have not existed. And it is not just a feature you add on to your old marketing automation toolkit. It's not a feature. It's a total rebuild from the ground up. And what we did is we took a clean sheet of paper and we purpose-built a platform using generative AI to deliver these solutions. So this is not something that everybody's going to add this little feature and suddenly it's competitive. They have no chance, because the processes that they're built around are fundamentally broken.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned a lot of exciting things that you're already doing. As we look to the future for Copy.ai, what gets you excited on what's next?
It's a great question. So the exciting thing is when you look at a company and the use cases and the business processes that they have internally, the company's always bottlenecked by the processes they already have in place, the knowledge that's in the heads of their team members, And usually that defines how good that they are at that process. So the thing that you could never do is replicate the best processes across, every company. And so for our platform, what we do is we build world-class processes that any company can add with a click of a button. So that's never been possible before. And so what we're building is a one-click solution where you can find and deploy a business process that's going to drive value to your customers day one.
That's going to be a game changer.
That's right. So there's a compounding effect. The more use cases that get built out and validated, the more impact you can have as a customer coming onto the platform.
Very exciting.
It's very exciting.
Yeah. So one last question for you. For the founders and the entrepreneurs that are watching today, what's one piece of advice that you'd have for them at the early days of starting their companies, especially in today's environment?
It's a great question. So the first thing I would do, I'd get on Twitter.
Okay.
I would follow startup founders that you find inspirational. Just following them will inspire you to create your own projects and get things off the ground. Second thing I would do is follow some venture capitalists, especially early stage investors. You will want to meet these people, and they will follow you only if you create new projects and launch new ideas, new opportunities. Second thing is the faster you launch, like every 48 hours, you are going to learn something new. And it can take 10 things, 20 launches before you'll find something that actually works. So time is your enemy here.
Right.
So when we built Copy.ai, it was the 6th product that we launched in the 90-day period after the launch of GPT-3. It took us 48 hours to build it. We launched it. The 6th time, each time we launched, we got more followers. We had more people following along. We had more investors reaching out, wanting to invest. And in the first 48 hours after we launched Copy.ai, we had our first 2,000 users sign up for free. So we didn't need to raise any money. We had all these users coming in, and each time you're writing the tweet out to launch the product, it's forcing you to walk through the marketing message. Like, why should anyone care about the thing I'm building? So after we launched that, we would just share updates. It's called building in public. So we would share all the updates as we built the product, as we were winning customers, as we were learning new things. We ended up getting our first roughly 50,000 users off Twitter alone. And what makes Twitter great is it is the community of early adopters. So those are the people that shape mindshare. They're the people that share new tools, new services. And then the second thing is that is where investors congregate, because that's where the new stuff is happening. So we raised almost all of the $14 million we've raised to date through DMs in Twitter. People reaching out to us, wanting to invest in our company and wanting to join us on this journey.
What's Copy.ai? What's your handle, and what's the company's handle, and what's your handle?
Ours is copy_AI, and my handle is Paul Yacoubian.
Okay, there you go. Check it out. Give them a follow. Well, thank you so much for the conversation. And we're so excited to be tracking your scale, and congratulations again on being selected to the Enterprise Tech 30 list this year.
Thank you. Incredibly humbled and flattered to be, it's an honor.
Absolutely. Yeah.